What it do, Dream Team? It's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video. Guys, here we are with American versus European suburbs and why US suburbs suck. I don't think I've ever lived in the suburbs, but I'll be intrigued in watching this video. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top. You ain't subscribed to any of it, put all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Human, I talk back. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. What we got?
This is a typical American suburban street. It's wide, the houses are very far apart and look mostly the same. There is barely anything on the well-manicured lawns, post boxes, a few trees or bushes, and the occasional fire hydrant.
I rocks with that.
Now compare this to a suburb in Leipzig, Germany. What differences do you notice?
Nice.
First off, there is stuff around you. The streetscape is very diverse and mentally engaging. In comparison, the American suburb looks like a desolate urban wasteland. Also, in the European suburb, the street is narrow, there is a 30 km/h speed limit, and the buildings are close together. Do notice the tram tracks. In this suburb, you can live car-free. If you want to go to the center, you can either take the tram or ride your bike for 20 minutes on dedicated bike lanes.
That is nice. That definitely is nice. I do like that. I think so far. Just being able to live car free and live in the suburbs and still get around to where you want. I think that's awesome. One thing I do like about the American suburbs, though, I do like the space, like the yard. It's not as close together, so I do like how you have your own yard, you have space, and know what I'm saying? Like you can put stuff like I know when I grew up, we didn't live in the suburb, but we like had a basketball goal like in the backyard, so we just go out back, play basketball for hours, and it was just nice having your own space. But keep talking to me. But this is really nice. Like the suburbs he ride around with, he didn't pick the best suburbs in America.
There's also a train station.
But these suburbs are beautiful.
In the American suburb, you have no option but to drive. Head out onto the busiest road, a horrifying mix of street and road, onto the jammed highway, and after an hour you'll be in the center, searching for a parking spot.
That sounds about right.
How about going to a restaurant? In the European suburb, there are dozens of different, unique, local restaurants reachable on foot, by bike, or public transit. In the American suburb, you're an hour walk away from a chain restaurant next to a busiest road. If you want to eat, you gotta get in your car.
You got to. That's not even suburbs, that's just America. That's just America. Like, you almost need a car to survive in America.
So, if you want to eat, you gotta get in your car. What if you have children? In this European suburb, there are 3 schools close by. Kids can walk or bike there on their own and learn to be independent early on. In the American suburb, a child could get to school after 35 minutes of walking, mostly along a busy arterial road, also having to cross a 6-lane road. And somehow, there's no crosswalk, so kids have to be driven to school every day by mommy and daddy.
Or you can take the bus. The bus comes around, it comes around and picks the kids up. Like, you don't have to drive them, you can just put them on the bus. That's one option, but I understand what he's saying.
Kids have to be driven to school every day by mommy and daddy. The same goes for sports. Over here, kids can take a 10-minute walk to the nearest sports field or a 3-minute bike ride on calm, safe streets on their own. In the US, it's a 40-minute march through a maze of streets partially along a major transit artery. You gotta get in the SUV and let mommy drive you to practice. This is where the term soccer mom originates from, by the way. People lament today's children for being overly dependent on their parents. But in such neighborhoods, children don't have a choice but to be dependent. Otherwise, they cannot go anywhere. They are stuck at home. In contrast, in European suburbs, kids can be let out safely to move around on their own, to go to places they want to, without the need for the mommy and daddy taxi service. Do note that yellow residential building on the left. That is a mid-rise. European suburbs tend to be a mixture of those and single or multi-family homes, like on this street.
That's interesting.
Zoning in US suburbs only allows for single-family homes, and they are usually placed very far apart, leading to low density and long distances. This makes public transportation non-viable. Over here in Europe, hundreds of people live within walking distance of this tram stop. In the US, if you put a tram stop here, you'd have a few dozen people living within walking distance. Meaning, even if you built public transit here, almost nobody would take it, because no matter how you build it, people would be too far away from it. If you're half an hour away on foot from the nearest tram stop, you'll take your car instead. And people do. So giant highways had to be built, rammed right into the city, usually demolishing non-white neighborhoods in the process. The end result was mass motorization all across America, constant traffic jams, noise and pollution, but not for the suburbanites. It was the urban dwellers, particularly those who were poor, who had to live near high traffic areas in cheap, low-quality housing. The suburbs also became a growth Ponzi scheme, where income from the suburbs couldn't cover future infrastructure overhauls, so the city had to expand and sell new properties constantly to get enough money to maintain what they already have. Not Just Bikes did a great video about this, link in the description.
I gotta check that out. That's interesting. And I can see that, I can understand that being true. Like, that's interesting. What he's saying right here what he's saying in this video, for the most part, I definitely agree with most of his points.
Maintain what they already have. Not Just Bikes did a great video about this, link in the description. The suburbs and car-centric development were useful political tools in the 1950s to enforce a Christian conservative, white nationalist hierarchy within American society, where white men are on top, women are at home, fully dependent on their husbands, and where all resources are channeled towards the white middle and upper class in the form of billions in state subsidies. And the rest of society, poor people, non-whites, were left to fend for themselves in decaying urban centers, sucked dry financially by the parasitic suburbs around them. Car-centric planning became a weapon of choice for conservatives in order to maintain the unequal status quo. And this phenomenon isn't unique to America. In Europe, as our cities transition away from cars, the opponents of this change are almost always conservatives. While the incumbent Paris mayor campaigned on eliminating 50,000 parking spaces, her conservative opponent, who looks frankly diabolical even by French standards, wanted to halt.
I swear to God, yeah. But dang, that's crazy. Like, all the planning that you just, when you think of planning in suburbs or like building houses in a certain area, you don't think of all of these things that he's talking. Well, I don't. My bad. I don't think of all of these things that he's talking about, and what he's saying just completely makes sense. What he's saying completely makes sense.
Parking spaces, her conservative opponent, who looks frankly diabolical even by French standards, wanted to halt decongestion measures. In Prague, a city overrun by cars, conservatives keep screaming about these cyclo-fascists ruining the city after a shadow is painted somewhere. Meanwhile, conservative district mayors are busy turning sidewalks into parking lots. In Madrid, the conservative city leadership cancelled the ultra-low emission zones, leading to local protests to bring them back. In Budapest, we have Orbán's far-right conservatives screaming about how there is a witch hunt against drivers by the new center-left mayor, and complaining how in inner-city Budapest, it's almost faster to walk now than to drive. Even in Germany, Bavarian conservatives are dumping money into highways while letting the rail network fall into disrepair. As a rule of thumb, in every city with decongestion measures, you'll also find conservatives screaming about the war on cars, the symbol of hierarchy in transportation, where the affluent suburban minority gets to occupy 80% of public space inside cities, compared to the more egalitarian space use of public transit and bicycles. God forbid you have to get out of your giant SUV of death and get on a tram with the peasants. Of course, upholding the conservative hierarchy isn't why suburbs are built today in the US. It's mostly just a necessary continuation of the Ponzi scheme that began with the first suburbs. Also, it's due to faulty zoning codes, thus allowing for mid-rise developments that would actually make more money for the city, increase density, and make public transit viable. In Europe, our suburbs are mixed, with both mid-rises, single and multi-family homes. They're an organic part of the city and contribute fairly to the local budget. There is also subsidized, affordable public transit. All in all, it's more egalitarian. And if the US situation sounds depressing in contrast, as an American, there are things you can do to potentially help change things. If there is a local transit riders union, go join it. Look if there are any initiatives on the ballot for traffic calming, bike lanes, etc. Show up to your local town hall meetings and advocate for zoning reform, ending parking minimums, and so on. If you're persistent enough, your ideas will be heard, and you can help push America back towards sensible, fair, more egalitarian urban planning, one neighborhood at a time. That's what I would do if I were you. Thank you for watching. Oh, and by the way, there is now a new membership option for my channel, so if you wish to support me making content like this, please consider becoming a member by pressing the join button next to the subscribe button.
That's cool.
And I'll be seeing you next time.
I actually like this because he broke down how the suburbs in America started. He broke down why they're still going, and then he broke down how he gave solutions on how to fix the problem. You usually see a lot of videos where they're talking about their problems, but they never really give a solution. Then he gave you solutions on the end about what he would do to help fix the problem. I like that. I rock with this video. Definitely agree with most of the points in this video. That's all we got for this one. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top, all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy D Neal. Out.